There are a lot of paddle brands out there. Vatic, I would say, is somewhat of an enthusiast brand. If you are a bit into paddles and gear, you probably know Vatic. They make high-performing paddles at more affordable prices when compared to other brands that perform similarly. What you probably don't know is the minor differences between their lineup and which one is right for you. I'm going to try and help you unpack that a little bit, and stay tuned to the end of the video to see which one of these paddles would be my personal choice if I were to play with the Vatic paddle. Also, I plan on explaining the product lineups of a bunch of other notable brands out there, so if there is one that you specifically want to see, make sure you like and sub to the channel, and let me know down in the comments below. So I like to categorize Vatic's lineup into 3 families and then further differentiate them into flavors of shapes. Within the families, you have the Pro line, which is delineated with an orange logo. Then you have the Prism line, which you can differentiate from the Pro line by the purple logo. And last but not least, we have the Alchemy, which you can tell is the Alchemy because of that ugly abomination of a cutout it has. So ugly. Between the 3 families, you have 3 different shapes, which are the V7 shape, then you have the hybrid shape, and then you have the Alchemy shape. Now, the V7 and the hybrid shapes you can find in both the Pro line and the Prism line. However, the Alchemy shape is exclusive only to the Alchemy line. Thank goodness, because these 3 shapes also come in different core thicknesses as well, and we will get into the shapes and why they matter later. Now let's get into the differences in the lines. With the Pro line shown here with the orange Vatic logo, it comes in at a price point of $140 USD. The key characteristics of the Pro line is the stiffer feel and more pop and power. I would recommend the Pro line paddles if you are looking for power and are very confident in your ability to soften up your shots when you require that extra bit of finesse and touch. If you like to hit the ball hard, initiate speed ups, and just have a more attack oriented play style, I would definitely consider the V7 or Flash from the Pro line. Moving on to the Prism line, you can find them at the more friendly entry-level price of around $100. They are still very well constructed paddles, akin to the Pro line with injected foam edge walls and a unibody design. However, they play a bit softer and more plush when compared to the Pro line. If you have a more control-centric to like all court play style and like to play with resets, drops, and finesse, then the Prism line is probably best suited for you. All right, finally, we got the Alchemy, which is interesting. It definitely plays a bit different from the other 2 families. First off, it's a bit more unforgiving, in my opinion. The sweet spot on the Alchemy paddles are probably the worst out of the 3 families, like in my opinion. The paddles have this flex to it when you swing fully, which is probably due in part to the cutout of the paddle. This flex kind of gives this sort of lag before it springs towards the ball when you strike, giving it a unique sensation. The balls sort of come off the face with a nice snap to them. If I could define the Alchemy family with one word, it would probably be like precision. You will be able to place the ball where you want with pace and power, but you have to be a pretty clean ball striker to get the benefits out of the Alchemy, in my opinion. The V7. This is Vatic's elongated shape, which is a pretty standard rectangular shape. It only comes in a 16mm core across both the Pro and the Prism families. The V7 shape is usually more head heavy, and with that comes a higher swing weight, meaning that it will feel like it takes more force to swing these paddles. Interestingly enough though, is that the V7 Prism has a slightly higher swing weight than the V7 Pro, making the V7 Prism feel like it has power equal, if not more, than that of the V7 Pro when hitting hard drives from the baseline. All in all, if you want reach, power, and leverage to help you put away balls and drive hard from the back of the court, then the V7 shape is probably for you. Now, if speed and maneuverability at the no volley zone is what you value, then the Flash shape is what you are looking for. The Flash has a slightly shorter, slightly wider paddle face, and in conjunction with its lower swing weight, makes it more suited for fast hand battle exchanges at the net, and what you gain in speed you lose out a little bit in power from your drives. Now, the flash shape also comes in a 14mm core thickness variant, as well as the more common 16mm thickness. The thinner core usually lends itself to a more maneuverable paddle as well, since it has less mass than its thicker counterpart. The 14mm will give you some additional pop, and it will also provide a more crisp and responsive feedback to you when you are striking your volleys and flicks at the kitchen line, whereas the 16mm versions will give a more plush and soft feel upon contact with the ball and will be more advantageous when trying to drop your shots into the kitchen or reset hard incoming shots. Neither is better than the other, it's just a matter of personal preference and style. Lastly, we have the Alchemy shape with its cutout. Honestly, the overall performance of the Alchemy shape is very similar to the V7 shape. What I said about the V7 shape, you can pretty much apply to the Alchemy. That cutout might help a bit with the flex, but I think it diminishes the sweet spot of the paddle. However, the Alchemy does come in a 13.5mm thick core, and if you really want the benefits of an elongated paddle but need it in a thinner core, then the Alchemy 13.5mm is your only option, at least when it comes to Vatic's lineup. Okay, so to summarize, you got the Pro line for power, the Prism line for control, and the Alchemy for people without eyeballs. Just kidding, I would say it's for a balance of speed, power, and precision. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm not a big fan of the Alchemy, but the players that I have met that use the Alchemy, like, love it. I'm just not one of them, and if I had to choose my favorite of the bunch, it would probably have to be the Prism V7, followed closely by the Prism Flash 14mm. The Prisms are they're just an easy recommendation from a performance and price standpoint. It's almost a no-brainer. I would choose the V7 Prism because, first of all, it's an elongated paddle and I prefer more elongated paddles. Although I have become a little bit more familiar with, more faster, more maneuverable paddles. But with the V7 Prism, it has this plush kind of soft feel, but I still get the power that I like from my drives. And if you've met me, you'll know that I like to drive the ball. Moving on to, I guess, a close second would be the Prism Flash 14mm. And like I said before, I've started to become a little bit more accustomed to a more hybrid shape and, shorter paddle for maneuverability and speed. The V7 Prism is a bit head heavy, so I do lose out on speed. So if I was gonna go optimize my game and my style for speed and quick, fast hand exchanges, hand battles at the no volley zone, I would pick the Flash 14mm Prism. And that's because, obviously it's faster, but it's like if you're gonna go that route, you might as well just go all the way and optimize for pure speed. And plus the 14mm has a little bit more pop than the 16mm version as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments which one you would choose and could be your favorite. All right, that's it for this video. Till next time, play better. Peace.